Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Siphumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of this conversation, it's hashtag SABC Network or at SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Now here's what's coming up in the program. We went to the streets to find out if you guys are video calling a little bit more nowadays. We also went to Uganda to find out about a woman who has been arrested for her social media posts. Our discussion is with Steve Mabona from the Education Department in Gauteng. Hello, are your online systems ready?
Definitely, we are ready to go.
All right, sure. We'll have a bit more on that discussion a bit later on in the program. It seems video calling is on the increase in Africa. Research done in America says more than half of American millennials are now using the service. But what's the story here at home? Millennials are always connected. That's why they're sometimes called the next generation. These are people born between 1980 and 2000. While many are used to texting, research done by America's NPD group says more than half of millennials in the US video call nowadays. We went to the streets of Johannesburg to find out if this is becoming a reality here.
I video call my family and I video call my bae over here.
I do use FaceTime.
Most times, obviously, I video call my friends. And I use FaceTime because when I do use WhatsApp calling, the video call thing, it really sucks. Like the quality and the connection as well.
It's really a great app. I use it on FaceTime because of an iPhone but it's usually on WhatsApp most of the time.
Video calls can be made on WhatsApp, Facebook and or Skype, but many feel the expense of data is a huge impediment.
But we have two challenges. One, infrastructure. Without good infrastructure, we will have a bad video calling experience. Two, the cost of data. We know that data is very expensive in South Africa, and if you add video calling to it, it just adds to the costs. Without addressing these two questions or these two challenges, we create an accessibility issue.
Bandwidth is still a little bit steep, but it's also true that we have advanced from a decade ago in terms of the bandwidth prices. I know that we have bundles here in Zimbabwe. You can buy a gig for $2. So that really has allowed some of these bandwidth intensive apps to be used quite regularly.
Some are finding ways to avoid expensive data by taking advantage of free Wi-Fi hotspots when they need to video call.
Cost a lot because it finishes my data every day.
When I'm in school, I use Wi-Fi, school Wi-Fi. I don't use my data because it's expensive to use data.
Most times I can say my data because we don't have Wi-Fi at home. And then obviously at school I use my Wi-Fi.
Those who travel say it's how they keep in touch with people back home.
Just recently I was in Japan and called my team and concerning work stuff and what we're going to be doing for that week, and we FaceTimed and it worked perfectly.
Even when I went to Qatar, I didn't even know how or where to get the SIM card. I just got to the hotel, connected to the Wi-Fi, and I was able to chat to my people back at home, especially my mom.
Video calling's popularity is aided by cheap smartphones.
Video calling is popular because the mobile phone is becoming cheap in Africa. Remember that we have all these Chinese handsets that one can get for less than $20, that have got all these accessories that allow you to do video calling and to do all the messaging, to use all the messaging apps. I know for certain that it's pretty popular here in Zimbabwe, for an example. I know that in Nigeria as well as South Africa.
While there is a shift towards video calling for some, Vox Telecoms believes there is still a market for voice calls. They've launched a new voice call service called Vobi, which they say is to drive down the cost of telephony.
We're seeing video calling becoming more and more predominant and it's definitely growing. However, within our markets that we service, which is both consumer and enterprise, we're still seeing a need for voice calling. We're having increasing minutes on our network month on month, and for sure, voice calling is still very much there in both the consumer and enterprise space.
It also requires data or Wi-Fi, and they say it also supports video calling. A Ugandan woman who used Facebook to criticize her country's president and his wife has been denied bail. Stella Nyanzi is a university lecturer and she's been charged with cyber harassment after criticizing President Yoweri Museveni and his wife, who also serves as the country's education minister. Nyanzi's Facebook posts are said to have been sparked by a dispute over the government's failure to find sanitary pads for schoolgirls despite promises from the president to budget for them. She was arrested on April 7 and charged in court on April 10. She's entered a plea of not guilty. Ugandan rights activists say the case is an indication of the lack of government's tolerance for criticism, whether online or other spaces.
The state has an obligation to protect and respect and also promote the rights of citizens. The state has has ratified international instruments and treaties of which they commit themselves to adhere to the principles and these rights that they are in. And therefore, it must demonstrate that ability and also willingness to tolerate dissenting voices. The state is called upon to do that. That even those voices you don't agree with, you have an obligation to tolerate those voices.
I think Stella is in a struggle, struggling to liberate her rights, the rights of freedoms of expression, freedoms of her speech. Therefore, she should also be determined to face some consequences. I implore her to be strong enough. For whatever comes, she shouldn't be shaken.
A group of Russians who are against President Putin have created an app that automatically transmits the location and emergency contacts of detained protesters.
Anti-Kremlin protesters who run the regular risk of being detained by the police are being given a helping hand. A smartphone app that allows them to instantly inform others where and when they've been arrested.
We have developed the ability for users to click on the red button and their detention information will be automatically sent to rights defenders, as well as their location, their contact details, and information about the police divisions where they have been taken, contact details of the police division as well. Using this information, rights defenders can then help this person in some way, like sending him a lawyer, and so on.
Russia faces a presidential election next year, which Vladimir Putin is expected to contest and was last month shaken by large anti-government protests. A collaboration between a Russian firm, a human rights group, and an opposition movement led to the development of the Red Button app. It automatically transmits the location and emergency contact details of a detained protester.
Red Button analyzes data of the clicks of the app's use and composes an overall picture of the day. We have a special Twitter page for Red Button, which publicizes tweets with geometric marks on a map with short annotations of what and where something is happening, where mass detentions are taking place.
The app will also allow observers to track how protests unfold, as it is linked to a special Twitter page that will generate maps and notifications. It is currently available for devices on iOS and Android.
China has proposed 5G concepts and Europe is doing away with roaming charges. These are some of the stories that made tech headlines in the last week.
China pledges faster and cheaper internet via 5G. The country's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology on Wednesday once again pledged faster and cheaper internet for the public.
The ministry is soon to issue policy directions on how to better implement the 17 tasks within 4 realms, ranging from increasing investment in telecommunication infrastructure, tapping further into the potential of broadband, fee reduction, encouraging broadband-based innovation, to optimizing the environment for faster and cheaper internet.
The communications development head disclosed that China proposed 5G concepts have won acknowledgement from international peers. The country is completing its second phase experimentation with the 5G before the end of this year. Off to Europe. EU passes a final vote to end roaming charges to take place on June 15.
We adopted 2 legal acts. The first was to end the mobile roaming charges, and the second to pave the way for the 5G technology by legislating on the coordinated use of this 700 megahertz frequency band for wireless connectivity.
The decade-long battle against roaming charges took on an added significance after Britain voted to quit the bloc last year in a surge of anti-EU sentiment, making Brussels keen to demonstrate the benefits of membership to ordinary citizens. Going back to Asia, Thai police to review ways to take down online content after Facebook killing. This comes after 2 videos of a man killing his 11-month-old daughter stayed on Facebook for nearly 24 hours before being removed.
In the future, we will discuss inappropriate online content, whether on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and how we can speed up taking this content down.
Authorities say the child's death is the first known killing broadcast on Facebook in Thailand, adding to a serious problem already on social media in the country, which sees 1 to 2 videos of suicide surface on average each month.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Media Monitor. I'm your host, Alicia Jali. What has been happening on the digital front?
To win the CAF Championship was a huge thing, and perhaps we ought to have celebrated him even more.
Absolutely.
73% of our schools, regardless whether they're in the township or they're in urban areas, if you go to those schools, you are guaranteed a matric pass.
It is the one thing that we haven't done well as a country. We have thrown money at it. I mean, if you ask for figures, you'll be told we're spending well in education.
90 billion.
But the performance of the system has not been good enough.
A top 5 rated horse racing event in the world, fashion is a highlight for those in attendance. All decked out in blue and white, the Lomorians Queen Plate is the premier event that kicked off everyone's social calendar.
That it was all part of my master plan to cast John Legend but deprive him of his normal instrument and give that one to Ryan.
The House of Truth is not just a name. It is a religion. It is a lifestyle. It is a conviction that drives us.
What really excites me is how people have kept it very simple and also played with the theme, and how each person has interpreted it in their own way.
To stay updated with all the current entertainment news, tune into Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
It is hashtag SABC Network or at SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Now, the online registration for parents to register their kids for school is opening soon. This comes after teething problems in 2016 and with the school's placement of children earlier this year. Mangoba Mkhunu has this one.
The 2016 Gauteng online admissions marred by technical glitches and several delays. It left many parents frustrated and desperate. But a year later, education officials say they are fully prepared for next year's intake.
The online registration will open on the 2nd of May 2017 at 8:30, and it will close at midnight on the 12th of June 2017.
To further this discussion is Steve Mabona from the Gauteng Education Department. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thank you very much.
Now, what were the problems previously?
Look, the problems were the system could not take the number of people who wanted to access it. And the other challenge was that we had to have a profile. You know, parents were required to have a profile which necessitated them to take quite a sizable time on the system, which it could not cope. And that led to, parents, some of them, not continuing with the process. Hence, we had in January most of the parents coming, wanting, placement. So those were the challenges. And the server, I think the capacity was not enough. And hence we saw that we need to make some improvements.
Steve, previously your system required parents to put in their home addresses, and we do know that we have a lot of people who live in informal settlements. People move around quite a bit. Can you just tell us whether the current system still requires that? Because some people don't have home addresses.
Yes, the system will require a parent to give parent details and a learner detail. And the third phase will then be saying, this is a learner, and there's a grade that we are applying for, and we need to provide a address, which is you can choose from your home address, work, or if there's a sibling in the school that you are applying to. So those parents who have an issue of the places that are not well known in the GPS or in the mapping, the system will automatically give them a school that is closer to the address that they are. If you put, like, for instance, an informal settlement, it will indicate and give you schools that are in the area. So that has been taken care of as far as the system is concerned.
Mm-hmm. And you are this time around opening it for only a month. It is online, but why have you only opened it for just a month?
Look, you must also understand that we need to place all the learners, and we are talking quite a sizable number of learners that we must place. We need to interact with all the schools. So in the back end, the system will automatically interact with the system to check on how do we place during the placement process. So we are saying from between July and October, that is the period that we've set aside for us to place all the children that is applied. Now, when we end that process in October, we will be in a position to can say, in school X, what is it that we need? Do we need more teachers? Do we need more classes? What is it that we need more to make sure that the school is functional come, next year? So it's more on planning purposes, so that the following year you don't have a challenge where you don't know where to place, the learners, and an estimation on how you're going to be managing the schools. I think it assists. And we are saying this is a fair process whereby you don't need to go to a school. When you arrive there, they tell you that the school is closed up until 2019.
Yeah.
Or your application will be just put aside and say, there's no accountability, you don't even know. So the system is quite very easy. When you apply, automatically, it will then give you an SMS to say you are on waiting list A, then you stand the chances of being placed.
Steve, a lot of people are scared of new technologies. Why did you decide that you, if you can remind us, you will do away with paper applications and you will just do it online when a lot of people are scared of trying new technologies?
No, this is it's a content or data collection process. It assists us to plan ahead. Like, for instance, when we introduce this system, now we know the corridor between Midrand and Johannesburg. We need more schools there. because the process indicated that you need, there's new townhouses that were built there, there's new residential areas, there's more people who work in Midrand, so you need to have new schools there. So we are saying, and gone are the days where you're just going to look at the uniform of a child and say, can I take my child there? So the system assists us to say which school will be performing very well, which school will not be performing. So we are doing what we call ranking of schools. So we'll be looking at all those schools, look at the infrastructure, the teachers, the pass rate, so that we can then avail that information and say, in Gauteng, these are our top performing schools, so that parents are in a position to can then choose from there, unlike looking at the former Model C schools or looking at the uniform or asking, that school, is it fine? And my friends are there, then we take school learners there. So we need information. So we are building data here.
All right, Steve Mabona, thank you very much for joining us and being a part of our network.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, we caught up with Miss South Africa 2015, Liz Laurie. She told us about her favorite piece of technology.
Miss South Africa for 2015, Lizzo!
So my name is Liza Laurie, Miss South Africa 2015. My favorite gadget, I'm not that tech savvy, but people are going to shoot me for this one. It's my iPad. Basically, it helps me from not wasting too much paper because I do a lot of MC gigs. So if I have to say tech savvy, iPad.
A top 5 rated horse racing event in the world, fashion is a highlight for those in attendance. All decked out in blue and white, the Le Mans Queen Plate is the premier event that kicked off everyone's social calendar.
That it was all part of my master plan to cast John Legend but deprive him of his normal instrument and give that one to Ryan.
The House of Truth is not just a name. It is a religion. It is a lifestyle. It is a conviction that drives us.
What really excites me is how people have kept it very simple and also played with the theme, and how each person has interpreted it in their own way.
To stay updated with all the current entertainment news, tune into Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
I came there and then wanted to sing with them, and then they said, no, you are too young to sing with us. Then I got angry that day. That's when the Dr. Malinga was born. I don't want to say poor because of now we are not poor. That means God wanted to give us whatever He gave me today. Till I was featured by DJ Choice on the song called Casanova. Signed with Kalawa Jasmine via Orlando. Many songs. Then Dr. Malinga this, Dr. Malinga that. Then I was in.
For more inspiring stories, stay tuned to Bupilong every Friday.
It is hashtag SABC Network. Welcome back. Now, a Hong Kong company wants to help hotel guests navigate foreign cities with more ease. So they've launched a plan to send 1 million smartphone devices to various hotels.
A Hong Kong-based company says its custom-made smartphones loaded with free data and provided in hotel rooms will save travelers from the often inflated cost of roaming bills.
The device here is sitting in the hotel room when the guest checks in. So the guest checks in, walks into the hotel room, finds the device there. The device gives the guests unlimited calls, internet, and they can take it around town and learn about the city through our city guide and all the different information on the device. Now, from the hotel's perspective, they like the device because it elevates the guest experience and it gives them constant access. It closes the communication gap with the hotel guests.
Think Lab says its handy devices will be inside 1 million hotel rooms globally by the end of 2017, half of them in Europe.
The idea behind the device is to have the traveler always travel like a local. I do not have to worry about calls or roaming or anything like that. I pick up the device, I have access to all the hotel information, and I have access to all the information about the city, telling me what to do, what to eat, where to shop.
The company says Handy is already available in around 120,000 hotel rooms in 20 cities and hopes to eventually have a device in every hotel room in the world.
This week, our Twitter poll has been asking if you've ever used video calling. Now, 45% of respondents say they've never used video calling. 39% say they use it once in a while. And only 16% of those who responded say they video call quite often. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Use network at sabc.co.za and email. We leave you with a video of people having a very sweet blast at an ice cream museum in California in America. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. Bye-bye.